Okay, guys, how we doing today? Sam here with you. It's Wednesday. It's the 29th. And so a lot of participation in the polling this morning. Glad to see that. So here we are on a Crypto Wednesday. First up, so per the request you saw here was Ethereum to the dollar. Now, this is an interesting count. We've had to change it a couple of times to accommodate the bullish action that we're seeing here. So I think we've got, this is reasonable here. It's extremely bullish, right? So we've gone through a series of 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 to accommodate this. We've just had to change it. We do have a little section here that's a bit, you'd prefer not to have to resort to a truncation, but it looks like it's the best way to trade this. So I have us going into a 1, 2 here. Now that 3 is going to be way up here because the subdivision along the way, well, it's very bullish. So we continue to get the series of 1, 2. So from that 1, 2, well, we can't go 3 here. So we've got to go 1, A, B, C. Now this is a little, this is interesting here. So note this here. The subdivision is there. So I can go A, here's my 3 waves into my B. Now I do get this little diagonal to finish me down here. So I've got the C wave here, but of course it's a truncation. So it wouldn't be what you'd ideally hope for if you were teeing up for that trade. That said, it's interesting is that we're technical here. So as I come, right, remember an algorithm doesn't care about, oh, well, we got a truncation in the C. It's just going to use the dominant pivots. Well, this is the lower low. So if I pull up here to this pivot, right, look, we do right to the golden zone here. So is it coming up here? We've got this structure here, right? Interesting how we bump into that, bump into it. So resistance, now we come down, now we get support here. So I do think we've got to take this as an A, B, C here into the 2. But then from there, yeah, I get a very clear 5 here. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I get another impulse into the 1, just as I did here. So I've got this series of 1, 2, 1, 2. So A, B, C, pretty solid. Now again, we're right. If you're looking at an Elliott count, well, it wouldn't invalidate here because we're talking about a 2. 2 can go anywhere from the 786, right? 50 to the 786. That's your prime zone. But I do think this is worth noting here because it's technical. And then I'll look what we do here, right? So from here, it's just there. It is, guys. I just, I show them to you every day. There it is. So and then here's the reaction. But all that's doing is setting up the 2. Of course, we have the benefit of hindsight now. So with this 1, 2, pardon me, 1, 2. Well, it can't be the 3. It's not long enough. So it looks like we've got to yet go again. I've got a very clear 5 into the A wave. Got my B here, and then I got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get my 2. So this look, shit. I think that was technical as well. It wouldn't surprise me at all. So slight break here on the interesting, right? So if this is the A, there's the B. Again, not an invalidation from an Elliott perspective, but interesting how we get the algo target to the tick and get a reaction. So what's the explanation? Well, somebody stayed short, right? And they decided to close out here. So that's to the tick, perfect. So likely that's software here that starts the buying, but then yet again, right here, diagonal into a 1, 2. Right? You think, oh, I got it again. So it's just a series of over and over of 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and they're all technical. So look here, we go from this 2 to this 1. Get that right on there. Okay, oh shit, I don't want to do that. Open this up. So here we come to the 50. So here it is again, right? Back to back. So we go right to the first algo target reaction, right? But note that this just sets up the next in the series, right? So we go from here. Now we pull from the lowest low. Well, let's see. We used this right here. This is a bit of a judgment call here. This is the dominant. That looks pretty solid. So here it is yet again. Here's the 50 to the first algo target reaction, right? It's got more legs, so we've got quite a bull on our hands here. So 1, 2. 1, 2. Now here I had to go to the micro, to the smallest degree here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gives me the 3 relative to this 1. So this 1, 2 is in. That impulse is complete. Now it looks like I go A, B, C. The C's a little iffy, but we are technical. So coming from this, we'll use the lower low here. Well, so, between 38 and the 50, note we get right into the lips of the Vegas wave. Just perfect support. And then we rock off of that. It looks like we've got another impulse underway trying to finish that. But you got to keep track of where you are in the sequence here. And so changing the color and the degree will help with that. Otherwise, it's going to be very easy to get confused by what's finishing where. So at this point, we are trying to finish this impulse here that's relative to this third here, right? I'm just using the first algo target. So I'm trying to get this impulse to complete to give me that third. So here's the impulse that's in play. And yet again, it looks like we've got an impulse in, let's go to the 30-minute, into the, in the fifth of the fifth at this degree. So let's just check it. So by just force of habit, I just continually wick off these ones. That looks fairly solid. Now I'm going to take this degree up a little bit here. That's just too small to see. Okay, so let's wick off this one wave here. All right, so we can see here, nice retrace, but we don't threaten it. So 1, 2, let's check that distance here. So just standard ops, guys, same thing we would do, regardless of what we're looking at here. So here's the 100. So we've got enough there, and it looks like there is the subdivision to give me that third. Down for the 4, so let's check that. Right, again, same thing every time. Every time done the same way, as I will continually remind you, that's the power of it. Okay, so here we go, ABC into the 4. We come down to the 50. Now here we got a first target, second target. Yeah, it's hard to say if we're done here. Let's just zoom in on this. So yeah, that's a little more complexity there than you like. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'm gonna have to open this up here. So do we have a stop? So I think we got to do it this way here. So it looks like we go down A, then we got to go A, B, C into the B, and now we come down to for the C here. Right, so I've got this little 5 here. So on the smaller degree, I think we've got to do it this way. We've got to go 1, A, B, C here. So let me, here, I'll just take that to the small one. Okay, so we got an A, B, C into the B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down for the C. And looks like we're off just getting started here. So let's dial these in here. So this is our 4 at this degree. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, this would complete us rather nicely up here for that 5. Do I have any geometry here I can lean into? I hadn't actually even checked that. So let's get that back to original. So that lines up rather nicely. All right, anytime you got 3 pivots, we're always going to put a set of median lines on it, or pitchfork, however you want to think about it. So here we go. As long as this holds, 80% probability of getting there. Right? I certainly wouldn't bet against that. Right? I would not be looking to short anything here, right? Considering how bullish this entire count is. So let's go back to the 2 hour, see where that would put us. So I'm going to pull. Let's see. We'll pull some of this off here so we can clear this chart up. So we have a nice confluence up here in terms of targets. All right, so we got this zone here. So here's our first target. So if this is going to trade as 1, 2, 3, 4, well, if we stop here, that's fine here. But we have the potential to go a little bit higher. Let's see what the reaction is like here. Possibility, we're relabeling this. Well, I have to see, right? So there's not enough information there to know whether or not we might convert this into a diagonal. That's certainly potential here, depending on how far this goes. So if this kicks up higher, you have to look at that wave relationship. Right? Yeah, it's too soon to make that call. So right now, if you're long, well, of course, right, it's a good time to be long, right? So if you're already long, stay long. There's no reason here to be looking to sell this. Sure, we're coming up to a prior high, but I would not be anticipating that we're going to double top. I'd be anticipating that we're going to go up and get the larger target here. So the subdivision here, that 5 will play a little bit better. So let's, again, just kind of standard stuff here. So we can take the length of this 1 projected from the 4, see if we get any confluence up there. So from the start of the proposed 1, from the pivot of the proposed 4, get that right on there. Well, so this fattens up a little bit. So we get a nice fat target here. So that would be the 1618 relative to the length of the 1. That would be a good move for the 5th, right? You don't see that terribly often. Right? I mean, we see it, but that's you're kicking pretty hard in the 5th there to get up past that. So we got to get up to, well, at least a second algo target here from this 50. So certainly within the realm of possibility, that would set us up rather nicely for the whole thing to start. Oh, let's look here. So this would be the 3 here, so that would be setting up the next trade, which is where I think the next opportunity is for a swing trader. Let's pull this down. Oh, I guess you get the point there. So we have that. So we'd be looking for this to complete up here. So let's go ahead and use that. So from our 2 to this pivot here. So again, I don't have this here, so I'm just going to use that 1618. So this would be setting us up for, if this is completing the 3rd, we're looking for the 4th. So right around this zone here between the 23 and the 38, where we have all this congestion. We have a little bit of some support here. So putting it all together, we'd be looking for the 4. And then the 5, right? So take note of where we are in that count. So this would be potentially, right? Might as well use the first algo target. All that's doing is completing this 3rd. Then this 4, then this 5 going to come in. Get you up here. Now we got a target up here for our 3rd. It could be higher here. Just kind of guesstimating here a roadmap. So what we're after here is 3, 4, 5 to complete the 3, A, B, C, to go up and complete that 3. All right, now let's pull back out. Let's see what that looks like relative to where we've been and how this might play in terms of where we're going. Okay, so we're trying to get to this 3rd relative to this 1. So we can look here, that's likely to be beyond the 2618. Let's see if we can even get there. So if that's the 1, that's the 2. All right, well, here's the 2618, so we'd be well beyond that. So we're a little far to... Well, so that's a good reference mark here. So that's 313, right? That's going to be an extreme here. Not that we can't get beyond it, but just keep note that we're really pushing the envelope there of how far that's likely to go. So, but if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that would be our 3rd. So let's look at that as well. So from this 1 here to this 2, right, very very similar, right? We're going to need an extension here. These are getting stretched because of the series of 1, 2s. So it's kind of the same thing. We could just let's do it this way. It'll be faster to do it this way. So how does that 3rd look? Well, we looked at that. This is our 1618 of this 1, 2. So if these are going to realize this way, we're looking at really, really extreme moves here. Now, it is interesting to consider the possibility here. Come here. Let's look how far out we would be on this initial set of median lines. Let's go back to original. That dialed in here. All right, you have 2 pivots here, which is kind of interesting. So this is actually the lower pivot. Give me a sec here. Just double check this. This is slightly lower, so let me get right on that pivot here. Do you see how we're just slightly lower here? So I want to dial in on that just in case. All right, now look how that lines up rather nicely. All right, so am I spot on here? Yep, I am. Okay, so 1, 2, right? It would surprise me more if we don't get there. All right, so look how that plate lays out nicely here. So this potentially going higher up for the bigger 3, the 4 down to the low, the 5 still to come. So see it all the time. All right, so it would surprise me more. Remember, a failure to get there. So far, we have not gotten there. A failure to reach the median line sets up a move. It would be a very bearish scenario. So my anticipation is that we're likely to get this target. Looks quite solid. That's 335. So first, let's complete this 3rd. We haven't done that yet. Let's get a completion here. Look for the rotation here and the sell-off, which would be the opportunity. Here's the next trade as I see it, right, is in this 4 to that 5, right, which is a push from our parallel here up towards the median line. Right, now this is not, we don't have an 80%er here relative to this pivot. Well, we do indirectly. So as long as this pivot holds, we maintain 80% probability of getting that median line. Now, granted, we've gone outside of it here, but as long as this holds, which is certainly not going to be threatened anytime soon, look, that's absolutely a contender here. So this move here, you'd have to be drawing a different set of median lines. So not that you couldn't, right? But you might look for something. Yeah, let's get this on original. Oh, holy shit, look at that. Okay, so I love that, seeing that. Okay, so here's just oh my God. Right, so this is a must take. All right, so if you can get that, if we can get this in 243 with a target of 335, that's, oh man, that's a technical big O. How about I'll say it that way, right? If you can get that confluence here where we have an algo target, the 1618 was there relative to this one too. The intersection of those two median lines, that's, boy, and the completion of a count that would put you into the 5 of the 3. Holy smokes, right? That's, man, you dream about those. That's anyway, but we're not there yet. So right now, all that is that's just that's my fantasy roadmap. All right, there's my fantasy 4 right there. So we got to get up here and get this before we get that correction going. So I'm drawing a pivot here without having this. All right, so take note here. This is hypothetical here. But if this is going to go up, we get our ABC down here. 38's a place to look for it. So if we can get something like this, oh man, you get something like that, you print that, put it on the wall. All right, guys, I'll be back we got a few more to do. All right, talk.